My name is Nassim Sabs.
Let me ask you a question. Has anything ever happened to you that you couldn't explain? That made you feel sort of foolish when you tried to tell somebody about it? Well, if it has, you have plenty of company, as you'll soon see.
Now, I don't know if you picked up on our work on the pig farm up in British Columbia, but from the period 1996 to 2002, between 60 and 100 prostitutes were taken from the downtown east side, primarily First Nations people, many with arrests and drug problems, exceedingly poor, taken out to the pig farm and slaughtered in front of an audience of up to 1,700 people.
Oh, my God.
And I hate to say this,
Go ahead.
in some cases, eaten at cannibal feasts. Now,
my God.
people say to me, David, why do you talk about this? My problem is, if no one talks about it, then you empower the evildoers and they move on.
Yes.
Because, let me address this issue of the word terrorist.
Yes.
These people are not terrorists, they're criminals. They use terror as a weapon.
Yes.
Now, when people go out to that pig farm, it was a federally registered society, Larry, by Ottawa. It was called the Piggy Palace Good Times Society, and they were licensed to hold sports and entertainment events and raise money, I believe, to get the women off the streets.
Right.
Well, they got the women off the streets by abducting them and cooking them.
Oh, my God.
There was a fridge full of body parts, right? This is the greatest serial killing, I believe, possibly in history, right? Where targeted, vulnerable individuals were taken out to the pig farm. People would fly in from across the country, including the United States, to attend the Friday night raves. This is an allegation or a supposition. In the roof of the barns where these festivities or activities were going on, there was a camera with demon face recognition software.
Wow.
So you would go in perhaps good faith. The guards were Hell's Angels. There was a 600-pound boar pig, running around the outside to nip people.
Right.
There was no easy parking, so I think the guests had to be bussed in from nearby hotels.
Wow.
Using demon face recognition software, they would be tracked to the building. They would have the images of what was done to these poor women, and those images would be archived onto the internet, the Federal Bridge. So if you have from 1996 to 2002, every Friday night, it probably wasn't every Friday night, it was when there was a victim that was available, up to 1,700 people. You got a lot of people.
Yes.
Oh, the Picton murders up in Canada, with that guy that killed all the hookers. That was set up by them. They videotaped all the murders. They used to clone Picton into the place and had him running around talking to him, and he felt like he was like a celebrity, right? Anyway, he used to smash them with a ball-peen hammer. Now, I'll tell you who was there, and this is how I know everything. The Brown something massacre, Brownsville massacre down in Texas somewhere. Well, that was all about them. The children of the fold got murdered, a big religious cult. They all got murdered and chopped up. Well, the fold was the cloning station, and they were going there and getting freaked on by a bunch of elderly rich perverts. And then they didn't want to anymore, and they said, leave us alone, we have computers, we're going to tell all about the fold. And they went there, killed them all. The Picton stuff was really unsettling, disturbing, because, well, Elizabeth wanted to be real close on hand to me, because everybody wanted to look at me, talk to me, and I was like focused on with the spotlight there at this place, because I did these songs and different money-making ideas for different people. So she always wanted to be around me to get in on the spotlight. She's like that. She's like a camera ham for all the celebrities that are there. So she was always around me. Now the thing is, She said to strengthen my mind, she wanted me to watch all of the Picton murders. And they had a camera in the corner of the room where he did these murders. The thing was, he would walk a woman, the hooker, over to a painting on the wall, facing that way, and say, do you like this painting? My brother painted it for me. Put his arm around the woman, and with his other hand, he'd reach in back of his pants and pull out a ball-peen hammer and smack her right in the back of the head. And that was it. And he used to almost have to give her like 2 or 3 or something. And one time, one of the hookers got him. I'll tell you about that some other time or something. But he got them all. He said, I asked him one time at the cloning station, because they would bring him there and ask him what it was like and everything. And like he was a celebrity or something. It was weird. And they're all trying to act evil like they're vampires or something. And he would talk and stuff. And I asked him, they asked me if I had any questions for him. I said, why a ball-peen hammer? And he said, well, normal hammer has a claw in it, carpenter's hammer. And if I had to do a second strike, the claw might get hooked on somebody's clothing, one of the girls' clothing, and it might, when on my drawback, it might hook on. Then he's ruined because he was just a skinny old man. And yeah, but Elizabeth used to make me watch them. They have 2 big screens at the cloning station over the stands, one on either side, right, so that people can, in the stands, can look both ways. The Picton stuff was really unsettling, disturbing, because, well, Elizabeth wanted to be real close on hand to me, because everybody wanted to look at me, talk to me, and I was like focused on with the spotlight there at this place, because I did these songs and different money-making ideas for different people. So she always wanted to be around me to get in on the spotlight. She's like that. She's like a camera hand for all the celebrities that are there. So she was always around me. Now, the thing is, she said to strengthen my mind, she wanted me to watch all of the Picton murders. And they had a camera in the corner of the room where he did these murders. The thing was, he would walk a woman, the hooker, over to a painting on the wall, facing that way, and say, do you like this painting? My brother painted it for me. Put his arm around the woman, and with his other hand, he'd reach in back of his pants and pull out a ball-peen hammer and smack her right in the back of the head. And that was it. And he used to almost have to give her like 2 or 3 or something. And one time, one of the hookers got him. I'll tell you about that some other time or something. But he got them all. Yeah, but Elizabeth used to make me watch them. They have 2 big screens at the cloning station over the stands, one on either side, right, so that people can, in the stands, can look both ways. Well, a lot of people can't watch them. A lot of people want to act evil so they'll feel safe there, because the more evil that you are, the more they're going to leave you alone. So there's people, man, they psych themselves into believing that they're evil too, just so that they'll feel safe, because they've seen these lizards and people getting tortured and killed, and they don't want any badness on them. So they try to act even more evil than the other people that are there. But just trying to put it forward in a calm, concise way. Like, they do this lizard thing a lot, like in a lot of different countries.
A lot. Minister of Finance, they couldn't get money to defend the Picton brothers. So DCINC, British Columbia Investment Management Corporation, gave the Picton pig farm a $10 million mortgage with no interest and no repayment schedule. Then Carol Taylor, somehow, she got that changed around, so it was the BC government giving the mortgage. Now, what's up with that? Yeah, and the more you looked at it, the weirder it gets. So, that a pension management fund is giving a pig farm a $10 million mortgage.
But last time we talked also, I asked about children. And you were talking about the native population. And I don't think we recorded this part or not. I'm not sure. But maybe we just talked about it. But yeah, the local native children were disappearing.
Yeah. The local native children. And one of the chief out there of one of the Indian bands, he was you know, incensed, and he's trying to get to the bottom of it. And these prostitutes were disappearing from the east side of Vancouver. Well, his daughter was a lawyer in the east side of Vancouver, and his daughter ended up as the Attorney General of Canada, Jody Wilson-Raybould. So Jody Wilson-Raybould is she's a First Nations woman, and she's the first woman Attorney General in Canada, and she's the first First Nations Attorney General. And we have a company up here called SNC Lavalin, and they were involved in human trafficking. They spent almost $2 million entertaining the Gaddafi brothers, the sons of Gaddafi, trying to get contracts in Libya, and that involved prostitutes, drugs, liquor, and that's against the law in Canada. And if you are found guilty, your company's found guilty of that, you do not get any government contracts for 10 years. So there's a lot at stake. So what they were doing was Trudeau and his people were pressuring Jody Wilson-Raybould constantly. She did record a couple of her conversations, and which I have on a thumb drive, by the way. And she ended up resigning from the positions. She said she couldn't break the law for Trudeau, and it didn't matter how many jobs were at stake. And then Trudeau had her drummed out of the Liberal Party, so she was kicked out. And we just had an election, and she got back in as an independent. So that's the part where I come in, and because the RCMP would not charge Trudeau with obstruction of justice, I did. So it's all connected.
It's not just an isolated thing, and these things walk around all over the place. There is a way to detect them. It's you have to detect them with a CT scan or an MRI. Well, they're gonna have to do something about it, because the thing is, sometimes these people, they get a pet lizard, one of their very own. Like Elizabeth's one is called Matilda, and Kissinger's one is called Herbert, right? And they occasionally get a hold of a real kid and bring it to the cloning station and feed a kid to one of these lizards. It's like Alf, the show Alf, runs around trying to eat cats and stuff. Everybody thinks it's cute. Well, these things, their favorite food is human kid, because it has less vaccinations in it. Because some vaccinations, after a certain age, will, if they drain the blood out of a thing, the real lizard will die from the vaccinations, or get real sick, or taste bad or something to them. So they get kids, they put them in a pit with this thing sometimes. I've seen it there. They just point out, showed me so much stuff flat out, thinking that I'd never be able to cohesively put it all together to tell people about it in a believable fashion, and that the technology of doing this is too advanced for people to believe. But after seeing all that I've seen, I have to tell as many people as I can, because they kill people with these lizards, and you know, I don't want to walk around in a world with those parasited human hosts in it. And I don't know. I was frantic when I wrote my original letter, because I didn't know how to explain everything. So I just stuck to the cloning aspect of everything, because I figured if I put lizards in it as well, people were going to go, whoa, change the channel. But so I pretty much told everybody in phases, just so that people wouldn't have too much to wrap their head around. But it's the most important stuff in the world, like chemtrails and MK Ultra and all that is done by them. And MK Ultra, you need a clone of the person to use MK Ultra on someone. It's just all kinds of different technologies that they have, and